If your hydrangeas looked a little smaller this year, or the blooms just weren't as full as you hoped, there's a good chance it has nothing to do with luck. It's probably something you did, or didn't do, back in late summer. Most gardeners think hydrangea care ends when the flowers start to fade. But that's actually the moment when next year's blooms are being decided. Right now, while your plant still looks green and full, it's quietly building the buds that will either give you a spectacular show next spring or leave you disappointed again. The good news? Fixing this doesn't take hours in the garden. It takes about 20 minutes and 5 simple steps. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly what to do to your hydrangeas before September ends, so that next year's blooms come back bigger, fuller, and more colorful than ever. We're not talking about complicated pruning charts or expensive fertilizers. These are 5 simple, low-effort tasks you can knock out in one afternoon. And once you understand the why behind each one, you'll never have to guess about hydrangea care again. You'll finally feel confident, instead of anxious, every time you walk past that plant with pruning shears in hand. Here's the thing about hydrangeas. They have a reputation for being fussy, and honestly, that scares a lot of people away from even touching them. You prune at the wrong time, and you accidentally cut off next year's flowers. You fertilize at the wrong time, and the plant struggles through winter. It feels like there are 100 ways to get it wrong. Here at Stress-Free Garden Living, we believe gardening shouldn't feel like walking through a minefield. It should feel simple, calm, and even a little bit relaxing. So today, we're breaking hydrangea care down into plain, no-stress steps that actually work, no green thumb required. Before we get into the first tip, I want to mention something most people get completely backwards. It has to do with color. There's one simple thing sitting in your garden shed right now that could change whether your hydrangeas bloom blue, pink, or purple next year. We'll get to that toward the end, so stick around, because it might be the easiest fix on this entire list. Tip 1. Deadhead the spent blooms. Let's start with something you can literally do today. Take a look at your hydrangea. See those faded, brown, papery flower heads still hanging on? Those are done. They've finished their job, and now they're just sitting there, using up the plant's energy for no good reason. This is called deadheading, and it simply means snipping off those spent blooms. Here's why it matters. Every part of a plant needs energy to survive, and that energy is limited. When your hydrangea is busy trying to keep old, faded flowers alive, it has less energy left over for the 2 things that really matter right now: growing strong roots and forming next year's flower buds. Remove the dead weight, and you free up that energy for the good stuff. Picture this. Next spring, instead of a plant putting out a handful of small, weak blooms, you've got a hydrangea absolutely loaded with big, healthy flower heads, because all that saved energy went exactly where it needed to go. Now here's the part you really need to hear, because this is where most people accidentally ruin next year's blooms. If you have a mop head or lace gap hydrangea, the classic round or flat-topped varieties, these bloom on what's called old wood, meaning next year's flowers are already forming on this year's stems. So you only remove the flower head itself. Never cut the stem back hard. If you do, you're literally cutting off next year's blooms before they even had a chance. If you have a panicle or smooth hydrangea, the cone-shaped or white-rounded types, good news, they're more forgiving. They bloom on new wood, meaning they grow fresh flowering stems each year, so a little extra trimming won't hurt them nearly as much. Simple action step: grab your pruning shears, snip off just the faded flower heads, and if you're not sure which type you have, when in doubt, only remove the flower and leave the stem alone. Tip 2. Stop fertilizing now. Here's one that surprises a lot of people, because it feels backwards. You'd think more food means more blooms, right? Actually, the opposite is true this time of year. If you keep fertilizing your hydrangea into late summer, especially with anything high in nitrogen, you're basically telling the plant to keep pushing out new, soft, tender growth. And that sounds nice, until you remember that fall and winter are coming. That soft new growth doesn't have time to harden off or toughen up before the cold hits. So instead of protecting your plant, that late fertilizer actually leaves it more vulnerable to frost damage and winter dieback. Think of it like this. Would you send someone outside in freezing weather wearing thin summer clothes? That's basically what happens when a hydrangea is forced to grow tender new shoots right before winter. It's simply not prepared for what's coming. When you stop feeding the plant now, it naturally shifts its focus. Instead of growing more leaves and stems, It starts hardening off what it already has and channeling energy into root development and bud formation for next year. That's exactly the shift you want. Picture your hydrangea heading into winter strong and sturdy, rather than soft and exposed. That's a plant that comes back stronger next spring. Simple action step: stop all fertilizing by mid to late August. If you already fertilized recently, don't worry, just don't add any more for the rest of the season. Tip 3. Deep water through early fall. Now here's something a lot of people don't realize. Your hydrangea isn't just coasting through late summer. Right now, underneath all those leaves, it's actively forming the flower buds that will open next year. And that process is thirsty work. If your hydrangea goes through drought stress during this window, even if it looks fine on the surface, it can directly reduce how many blooms you get next year. The plant simply doesn't have the resources to form as many healthy buds when it's struggling for water. Here's the part that trips people up though. It's not about watering more often. It's about watering deeper. A quick daily sprinkle from the hose might feel productive, but it only wets the top layer of soil. The roots that really need the water are down deeper, and shallow watering actually encourages shallow, weak roots that struggle in heat and cold alike. Instead, aim for about 1 to 1.5 inches of water per week, delivered slowly and deeply, ideally right at the base of the plant rather than over the leaves and flowers. Watering the leaves in the evening is actually one of the fastest ways to invite fungal problems, something we definitely want to avoid. Imagine a hydrangea with deep, resilient roots, sailing through dry spells without wilting and forming plump, healthy buds all season long. That's what consistent deep watering gives you. Simple action step: water deeply once or twice a week at the base of the plant, rather than a light daily sprinkle. Okay, so far we've covered deadheading, feeding, and watering. But honestly, tip 4 is the one most people skip completely, even though it takes less than 5 minutes and makes a bigger difference than almost anything else on this list. Let's get into it. Tip 4. Apply mulch for root protection. Mulch might be the most underrated tool in your entire garden. It looks simple, maybe even a little boring, but what it does underground is genuinely powerful. Hydrangeas have fairly shallow root systems, which means they're sensitive to sudden swings in temperature and moisture. A 2 to 3 inch layer of mulch around the base of your plant acts like a blanket. It keeps the soil temperature more stable, holds moisture in so you're not fighting drought as often, and cushions those shallow roots as the weather starts cooling down heading into fall and winter. Think of mulch as giving your hydrangea a steady, comfortable environment to keep developing those flower buds, instead of a stressful one where the soil is baking hot one week and bone dry the next. Picture your hydrangea's root zone staying cool, moist, and protected all through the changing seasons, while the plant above ground quietly finishes preparing for next year's show. One important note here: keep the mulch a few inches away from the actual base of the stems. Piling it right up against the plant traps moisture against the stem and can lead to rot, which is the opposite of what we want. Simple action step: spread 2 to 3 inches of mulch in a ring around your hydrangea, leaving a small gap right at the base of the stems. Now, let's talk about the mistake that trips up more hydrangea owners than anything else. It's pruning at the wrong time. So many people see a hydrangea that looks a little wild in late summer or fall, and their instinct is to grab the shears and cut it back hard, the same way they might tidy up other perennials. But if you have an old wood bloomer, that single pruning session can wipe out an entire year of blooms. You won't even know it happened until spring comes and go, and there's nothing there. If you're ever unsure whether to prune, the safest rule is simple. Only remove dead or damaged wood, and leave the rest alone until you know your specific variety's bloom pattern. Alright, remember that open loop from earlier? Here it is. Tip 5 is checking, and if needed, adjusting your soil's pH. And this one single factor can actually determine whether certain hydrangeas bloom blue, pink, or somewhere in between. Here's why this works. For varieties like mophead and lacecap hydrangeas, flower color isn't just genetic, it's chemical. Acidic soil, lower pH, tends to produce blue blooms, while alkaline soil, higher pH, tends to shift those same flowers toward pink. Fall is actually one of the best times to test your soil and make adjustments, because it gives any amendments time to fully integrate into the soil before your plant goes dormant for winter and starts that bud development process we've been talking about all video. Picture this. Instead of hoping for a certain color and crossing your fingers, you actually understand what's driving it, and you can nudge your plant in the direction you want. Simple action step: pick up an inexpensive soil pH test kit, check your levels, and if you want to adjust the color, add garden sulfur to shift toward blue or garden lime to shift toward pink, following the package instructions for your soil type. So that's it. 5 simple things. Deadhead the old blooms, stop fertilizing, water deeply, add mulch, and check your soil. None of these take much time, none of them require special tools, and none of them require you to become a hydrangea expert overnight. That's really the whole philosophy behind stress-free gardening. You don't need to do more. You need to do the right things at the right time, and then let the plant do what it naturally knows how to do. Take care of these 5 steps before September wraps up, and next year, instead of wondering why your hydrangea looks a little sparse, you'll be standing in front of a plant absolutely covered in big, healthy blooms. If this video helped make hydrangea care feel a little less overwhelming, do me a favor and hit subscribe. Here on Stress-Free Garden Living, we share simple, low-effort tips just like this one every single week, so you can grow a garden you're proud of without the stress, the guesswork, or the wasted weekends. I'd genuinely love to know, which of these 5 tips are you going to try first? And do you already know if your hydrangea is an old wood or new wood variety? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one, and I'll see you in the next video.